Avery, Braxton talking to you with a big show on tap because we're bringing in the biggest guest, the one and only Kendrick Perkins of ESPN, going to join the show in just a moment to give us his 2 cents on just how good or not good the Grizzlies can be and take us back to some of his Celtics days for a very special teammate of his. A ton of accolades also coming to the Memphis Tigers this week. We will celebrate a first-time honor for one head coach, Penny Hardaway. Thanks for joining us. The 24th floor starts right now. Joining me on the show, you might recognize him from his time on ESPN's NBA Today or going toe-to-toe with Stephen A. Smith on First Take just this morning, actually. It's ESPN analyst, 14-year NBA vet, and NBA champion, don't forget, the one, the only Kendrick Perkins, a.k.a. Big Perk. Kendrick, thank you for being here, brother.
I appreciate you having me, Avery. Thanks, man.
Of course. You're doing a whole lot of movement, but I hear those on the 901 could see you here in Memphis here pretty soon. Is that right? Am I correct on that?
Yep, absolutely. I mean, listen, one of my good friends, my good brothers, teammates, a guy that I'm, been through the trenches with on the basketball floor, man, a guy that I love so dearly is finally getting his moment, right? Getting his jersey retired, and Tony Allen, T.A., we got other, various nicknames for him, but I don't want to put him on blast right now. This is his moment. I don't want to steal his moment. I don't want to, but at the end of the day, I'm coming down there to support my guy.
All right, so they call you Big Perk, of course, and we do a segment on this show called The Big Idea, so let's jump right into that. Saturday, like Big Perk said, the Memphis Grizzlies will retire the jersey of one Tony Allen. Allen, a 6-time all-defensive selection in the NBA who played for the Grizzlies for several years, taking them to the playoffs and one very memorable Western Conference Finals. Before he came to Memphis, he played for the Boston Celtics, where he won a championship with one Kendrick Perkins back in 2008. So, Kendrick, I really want to ask you right now, my brother, I know those are some fond memories for you on those Celtics days. What do you remember about playing with one Tony Allen?
I mean, he's the true definition of a dog, right? When you talk about sicking somebody on someone, that's him, right? And that's what he was. He was a guy that, locked up and took pride in locking up the best players, right? Whether it was, playing some great defense on LeBron James or Kobe Bryant, that's who T.A. was. It wasn't a front on and off the floor. And, just watching T.A. in his growth, when he got into the league, a whole lot of one-on-ones with Paul Pierce. They used to go at it, a whole lot of one-on-ones. And, just watching him put in the work on a day-to-day basis on, being that defensive guy, it's just, on the court, man, he was a guy you definitely want to go to war with. Off the court, man, T.A. is just that joy that, you need, just that comes in the room every day, that just brightens up the damn room all the time,
I hear that. I know he was a beloved member of that, especially that 2008 championship team that the Celtics did win with Paul Pierce and KG, Ray Allen, all those guys. But you also had to see him leave. Can you just kind of talk me through what that moment was like free agency-wise as T.A. was kind of trying to decide if he wanted to come to Memphis or stay in Boston? What did you do as a teammate to try to get him to stay?
I mean, you try everything under the sun. You try to, make him realize that, hey, man, you leaving not only your teammates, but you're leaving your brothers. But at the end of the day, you at that point in time when you already have a championship, you got to look to start benefiting you. And to be honest, T.A. was in a spot where, we had our starting five intact, and he needed to go somewhere where, he was going to be able to have a bigger role. And, as much as you don't want to lose him, you have to, accept it, right? And if you're a real brother and a real friend, you're going to tell him to go ahead and go do what's best for him. And I think, he did make the best decision. And, that's why you and I are here today.
And, of course, you did have to watch him go. He goes to the Memphis Grizzlies, has a great career, obviously more offensive, all
Mm-hmm.
defensive selections, Mr. First Team All Defense himself. What was it like kind of watching him from afar and then having to play against him? I know you guys had some battles with those Thunder days of yours.
You know what? I watched Tony Allen, TA, go from being hard-headed, stubborn, as a guy, young guy, being under the leadership of Paul, KG, Ray, James Posey, to actually becoming the leader and actually going to Memphis and establishing culture, right? That grit and grind culture. And it was a beautiful thing to see because, behind the scenes, we all knew that TA had the capabilities, but to actually watch him go and do it, to actually watch him be more outspoken and be more of a voice in the locker room. I mean, it was almost like he graduated. And so those times after I got traded and went to Oklahoma City and we had those battles, in the playoffs, you never know how good Tony Allen is defensively until you're out there trying to set a screen on him, right? And in the scouting report, they always tell you, hey, look, guards, we need you to get small. We need you to blow up the screen. Tony Allen was that guy that you didn't want to set a pick on. He was that connected. He would bust through the screens. It would hurt. And just watching him set the culture and just, bring life back to Memphis in a basketball space, I couldn't have been more happier for him. And then, just to think about the other side of it on the competition side, it's a guy that you just didn't want to face. I mean, think about this for a second. He was playing, his defense was so good, so great, that they wrote an article about Kevin Durant in Oklahoma, calling him Mr. Unreliable. Mm-hmm. Think about that.
Yeah, KD.
That was the Tony Allen effect. Like they were calling KD. They had a newspaper article calling Kevin Durant Mr. Unreliable. That was the Tony Allen effect right there for you.
All right, but we'll see the Tony Allen effect on Saturday as he gets his jersey retired after the Grizzlies Heat game. That'll be 7 p.m. start of that game. Let's get into a little bit of what happened last night. Grizzlies taking on those Utah Jazz, a team they've had some success against so far, looking for their 4th straight win. There's the Tower of Power from J. Huff, slam. Grizzlies down 1 early, still in the first, 10 seconds left. Jordan Clarkson stripped by Scottie Pippen Jr., Desmond Bane on the break, downhill Des, the drop off to Brandon Clark for 2. Grizzlies up 30-24 after 1. Second quarter, Luke Kennard starts heating up off the hockey assist, 3-ball, corner pocket. Kennard had 13 in the second quarter alone. Grizzlies active on the other end. Morant, steal, little bump of the rookie Isaiah Kohler, tells him he's itty-bitty, too small. Grizzlies up 19 at one point in the second. They head into the half up 14, and then the Jazz just decide they want to go on a big run. That's Clarkson. That one's Lauri Markkanen from the same spot from 3. That ties the game up at 85. Fourth quarter, Grizz trying to shake the Jazz like toilet paper on your shoe. Luke Kennard with a 4-point play, hits the free throw. Grizzlies up 114-110. That one swirls around and really is like a toilet bowl. Another 3 from Kennard. Grizzlies having quite a game, 30 points, 7 of 9 from deep for Luke. And then Mr. Big 12, call 12, Morant from the top of the key. He calls game, lets the crowd know he's got a big set of cojones. Grizzlies up 122-115. That'll be the final. Taylor Jenkins knows it's been tough to put some teams away, but he'll take the win either way.
Luckily, our guys found a way. I mean, we got to find the positive through this, that we still found a way to win these games, regardless of who we're playing, where we're playing. But definitely our standard is something that we have to be aware of, being more consistent in for 48 minutes. And, proud of the resolve down the stretch.
I wouldn't even say it's ugly. I feel like we disrespect a lot of guys in this league just because of their team record. They're still NBA players. They're here for a reason. So no matter, whenever you step out there on the floor, the game is not going to be easy. It's not like we came and, disrespected them at all. They came and played hard. Obviously, NBA players who here for a reason can score the ball. We just have to, just lock in even more. And obviously, we had a big lead that they went on a run and cut. And then, but just staying with it, just figuring out and going out and get a win.
So the Grizzlies have won 4 straight now. Kendrick, I know you might have wanted to turn this one off at halftime after they were up 19, but what did you like or dislike about what you saw from the Grizzlies in this one?
Well, I think overall, I like the way that Memphis has been playing basketball, especially offensively over the last few games. Obviously they're missing their second best player in Jaren Jackson Jr., and I think it was a blessing in disguise, to be honest with you, that it happened at this time, because now we're able to see Ja Morant again. Ja Morant that we've been missing. Not Ja Morant at the start of the season. Ja Morant from the future from the past before all of this other stuff happened, right? This Ja Morant is the Ja Morant that's going to take the Memphis Grizzlies deep into the playoffs. I don't need to see Ja Morant standing in the corner. I don't need to see Ja Morant playing off the ball. I need to see a ball-dominant Ja Morant that's not only getting downhill to create for himself, but getting downhill to create for others. And the rest is going to feed off of him. When you have a player that dynamic and could go get buckets, he's going to make guys better around him by accident, because he draws so much attention. And so now you got him over the last few games, averaging 30 plus, right around 30. And it's like, man, this is the job we've been waiting on.
All right, so let's take a quick look at the Western Conference standings. I think we're going to get into a little bit of what you're talking here. Here's where the West lies right now. Grizzlies have won their 4 straight after they lost 4 in a row, and the Nuggets also took a loss. So Memphis now back into second place, and the Nuggets in third. The Lakers have lost 2 straight and slide to 4th. Rockets and Warriors in 5th and 6th. Minnesota and the Clippers round out that top 8. Kendrick, with the play that the Grizzlies are on right now, especially with where Ja Morant has been, where do you think they stand in the West? Are they contenders or are they pretenders right now?
You know what? I say this respectfully. I think they're pretenders. And I think they're a year away, to be honest with you. It's not that I don't have faith in Ja Morant or Desmond Bane or Jaren Jackson Jr. I just really need to see the growth of the young guys. And I think the only way that they're going to be able to grow is by getting experience, right? When you look at, teams around the Western Conference alone, right, the Denver Nuggets, they're stacked with depth, right? A lot of experience on their team. From young guys, got championship experience. You look at Oklahoma City, and I know a lot of people say, quote unquote, they don't have a lot of experience, but, going through one playoff battle, a couple rounds, that actually give you the experience that you need. And they got great depth. I thought they made some great deals, some great acquisitions at the trade deadline, which got them, right at the top of the Western Conference. And it's not a knock. I think the Memphis Grizzlies, their ceiling is a, first round exit. That's just my honest opinion. But it's not a bad thing. I think the future is really, really bright.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would agree with you. Certainly happy of where they've seen the Grizzlies go here in the regular season, but we've seen them do this before. They've been second in the West a couple of times in the last several years, and I think what a lot of people have taken kind of some issue with is they've almost, tripled or quadrupled down on some youth. You've got 2 rookies in Jalen Wells and Zach Edey that are in your starting lineup that are going to get a lot of minutes. Vince Williams Jr., who's one of their better defenders, hasn't played in a playoff series. G.G. Jackson hasn't really been in a playoff series, really had a chance to take on a lot of the role in his first year. But here in the second year, after coming off a foot injury, still kind of figuring some things out. And I don't think that bodes well for a couple of playoff series, rather. But to your point, OKC had to figure some things out, got them all the way to a Western Conference Finals this year. You think there's a cap, and you just said it. Do you think there's any wiggle room for the Grizzlies to maybe surprise some folks? Because I know there are some contenders who, don't really even believe in the Thunder.
Yeah, there's a lot of non-believers, but, after the Thunder went there and got that signature win last night, I think they're believers now. Again, it comes down to the depth, man. A lot of those guys, they didn't got tested, whether that was the first round or second round. They didn't got put in those crucial moments where, it mattered the most. They didn't made crucial mistakes. and know what it feel like to be in those moments, and all that plays a part. I think, Avery, everything that you talked about from the youth side of things with the Memphis Grizzlies is a reason why I can't yet put them as legit title contenders. And again, that's okay.
Yeah, for sure. And then let's kind of take a look at Ja Morant, because you've been sticking on him here for a little bit. Over the last kind of 4 games, Morant's putting up 30 points, 8 assists per game, really been playing well, especially with Jaren Jackson Jr. being out, shooting 50% from the floor, 34% from the three. And like I said, Grizzlies have won 4 straight kind of in that span. But Perk, you've been kind of critical of how they've used Morant over the last, we'll really just say this season, as they brought in some new offensive schemes. You don't think him playing off ball is really going to translate to them winning? Am I right about that?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And look, it's going to get you regular season wins. I know, Memphis has this new system. And I think, Taylor Jenkins is a hell of a coach. I really do. I think he's a really, really great coach. He's done some good things since he's taken over, being the head coach of the Memphis Grizzlies. But I just look at, them being one of the worst teams for us not utilizing, the ball screens and taking it out of their offense, although they do have one of the best offense in the league. It's still, I think getting to the postseason, that type of system allows teams to load up on you, right? And then when you have a player like Ja Morant, you really want to utilize the 2-man game as much as you possibly can. And when I say 2-man game, down the stretch, I want to see more of Jaren Jackson Jr. Setting a pick for Ja Morant coming downhill, Triple J mixing it up, whether he's pick and popping or pick and rolling. I mean, that opens up so much, and it also opens up Ja. And I think you can feed off of that so much, and just looking at it, if they switch to pick and roll, then all of a sudden you dump it down there to Jaren Jackson Jr., who's a very good post-up guy. Now he has the mismatch. Now it's a balanced flow, and now it's hard to guard.
All right, I'm going to give my production folks here a second to bring in your partner. Grizzlies are going to play the Cavs on Friday, the number 1 team in the Eastern Conference right now. Obviously, I got a question for you, Perk. I got a good friend of mine, my producer, Chris Ruffin, is actually a big Celtics fan. We hoped that you were coming in today when I told him you were coming on. But he wants to know who's going to be the X factor for the Celtics in order to repeat. And I'll ask you that while we kind of get my production folks ready for your guest.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be Kristaps Porzingis. Well, I know it's going to be him. Hell, he was the X factor for him last year in the NBA Finals. He just brings that balanced attack for the Boston Celtics. We saw last night what Oklahoma City did to him, and we saw the Celtics struggle from 3. And I think, Kristaps Porzingis being one of the best post-up guys in the league, when the Celtics run the high pick and roll with him, he gives them so many options, right? Because he has unlimited range for shooting a 3-point shot. He's 7'3", so that makes him a legit lob at the basket, right? Which, even if he's rolling and don't get it, it opens up space for shooters. And then if they switch, he's going to punish those smaller guys on the low block. So, that's why I didn't want to overreact. I gave props where props was due for us OKC winning the game. But he's solely the reason why. I mean, outside of what the Celtics already got, he's the missing piece on why I have them repeat.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good call. Kristaps Porzingis, certainly a fantastic player. I think what JT brings to that team, he's the unquestioned leader, but the toughness that Jaylen Brown brings, I think what they have in that starting 5 is legitimate, and what they can bring off the bench is also something that's really going to make them somebody that is something to be reckoned with there in the Eastern Conference. Even though they are behind the Cavs right now, I can see a world where they go toe-to-toe in the Eastern Conference Finals, and now you're talking about them going back to the finals in some place that they're very familiar. All right, I think we got our guy in here. I apologize to the viewing audience as we were trying to figure some of that out. But we're going to bring in Kendrick's good friend and business partner on this one, one Kahari Nash, also known as the Boo Ray King, founder of KSN Gaming Incorporated. Kahari, I appreciate you joining the show today, brother. How are you?
Man, thanks. I'm great. How are you?
I'm great, man. Great. Glad you could be on. I'm bringing you on because when I was told about having Kendrick on the show, they told me you guys didn't want to just talk basketball. Y'all want to talk a little cards, specifically Boo Ray. Can you explain, first of all, what Boo Ray is for those who are maybe uninitiated?
Boo Ray is fundamentally spades with a twist of poker. And as Perk can tell you, it's the biggest gambling game in sports and entertainment.
All right. Certainly something that's been played a lot. As you can see here in the VO, a lot of ball players love this, both basketball and NFL. A lot of celebrities kind of in on this. You guys are joining together with SCCG, I believe it is. What exactly are y'all trying to get going with Boo Ray here in the coming months?
We're developing the digital version of Boo Ray, the traditional way of playing Boo Ray. And we also developed the house bank card game for Boo Ray for the casino, brick and mortar. And so we're going to roll this all out beginning October 25th, the tip-off day for NBA season.
That's what's up.
And so, we're going to do a soft launch at the NBA Summer League in Las Vegas, July 10th through the 13th. And then we're going to do a hard launch at the Global Gaming Expo in Las Vegas on October 7th. We did an exhibition game at the Global Gaming Expo last year, and we had our good friend Mark Wahlberg come by and say hello to everybody. Tony Allen himself was there that night, and another former Memphis Grizzly, Mario Chalmers, who is also our partner, was there as well.
Yeah, so Boo Ray is something that you guys have partnered with. Like you said, Mario Chalmers is also on the board along with Kendrick. Big Perk, why is Boo Ray something that you kind of wanted to get behind? I know in your playing days, you were one of the biggest Boo Ray players.
Oh yeah, one of the biggest, and because Boo Ray is Boo Ray, right? It comes to the point. It got to the point where in 2008 we used to look forward to the plane rides because of Boo Ray, right? It's just we thought Boo Ray was one. Obviously you want to win some money, but two, it brought together. It brought us together in a way. Boo Ray, we would take Boo Ray from the plane to the bus. On the ride from the bus to the hotel, pick a room, and we would go in there, play all night, and watch the games until, we pass out and get some rest for the game the next day. All the celebrities, all the athletes, they play Boo Ray, right? It's time for the world to know it. It's time for the world, for it to be introduced to the world. But, we still play Boo Ray in my house. We don't play for the amount of dollars, that we used to play for on the plane, but we get the quarters and dimes and nickels out a little bit, and the pot get a little high.
Man, you gaming your sons and daughters and nieces and nephews for their allowance money just don't sit right with me, Big Perk. I don't know if I like that. Is there a particular funny story or something that really sticks out to you about your time playing Boo Ray on the road with your boys?
We used to play all the time, man, and it was just funny because, we always KG always used to sit down, and we always used to tell him, man, he was sweet because, he would stay in hands that he wasn't supposed to stay in, and we would love it. We would always say, Tony Allen started this, though, really, to be honest. I'm glad you brought it up. He would always say, load the donkey up, because we knew KG was sweet. If he was in the pot and he stayed in, we wanted to be in. We knew we was going to get him.
That's hilarious. And then for the Boo Ray King over there, how did you link up with Perk, and are you a better Boo Ray player than him?
I linked up with Perk about 20 years ago. Perk and I got a mutual friend, shout out to B1 from Houston. He was like the street ball king of Houston, and he used to do all these, tournaments, at Fundy, which is like the #1 recreational basketball center in Houston that, everybody from Akeem Olajuwon, the Dream, to the late, great Moses Malone, to Robert Horry, the Big Shot, Big Shot Rob, and Sam Cassell, and, Catino Mobley, Steve Francis, you name them, everybody been through Fundy. If you know anything about Houston basketball, you know about Fundy. And so that's how me and Big Perk linked up over 20 years ago. And when I conceived the idea to, commercialize Blu-ray, I called Big P and say, hey, man, I got one for it, man. He catch this alley-oop. And he said, I got you, big homie. And so we put him and Mario on the Blu-ray books out in Vegas for the SCVG Celebrity Blu-ray Exhibition game. And then we had Mark Wahlberg's, Tequila Fetch Azul as a sponsor, and we did it at Tom's Watch Bar at the New York Casino. And TA and Mario and everybody, they had a great time with all the people from the Global Gaming Expo. These are the people that, drive gaming globally. And it's the largest gambling convention in America. It brings over 25,000 gambling professionals from all around the world annually to Las Vegas. And so we had a ball. We introduced them, we showed them our custom Blu-ray cards, and then we tested the house bank game in Atlanta a couple of weeks ago with Princess Love, the poker princess, who's gonna be the Blu-ray queen. And then we had DC Young Fly, we had Omar Gooden, we had Bambi, Lil Scrappy, and we had a good time. We introduced the house bank game, tested it with them and some professional poker players. And, we settled on the fact that we got a good product, and this product is ready to go globally.
All right, and so when you talk about all these celebrities and ball players, I know the stakes can get pretty high. I actually want to toss to something, a little quick soundbite from Kendrick, talking about one of the biggest rounds of Blu-ray he's ever lost. Check this out.
We were playing before games. So the most I ever lost, I lost a pot for like $65,000. But I was already up.
We all were.
Yeah, I was already up.
All right, so Big Perk, you got to tell me what happened on that particular hand, my guy, if you remember, and then have you lost that much money since? I just got to know.
No, I haven't. That's what I was playing. I was reckless. Now I play deadbolt locks. If I stay in, that meaning if I stay in, I really got something. At that point, I was trying to bluff the pot, and tried to steal the money. I was up, so I'm trying to bluff the pot, man, and tried to stay in, and I got caught slipping. And it happens, but luckily I was up. But it was a lesson, right? It was a lesson in that, that in pots like that, hey, just mind your business. That's it, just mind your business.
A la Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, hanging out with Kendrick Perkins and the Blu-ray King, Kahari Nash. Fellas, I really appreciate you guys coming on the show. I hope you enjoy your time this weekend in Memphis as you guys celebrate the retirement of one Tony Allen. Appreciate y'all.
Hey, appreciate you, man. Thanks for having us, man, and keep up the great work. Big fan, brother.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, Avery. Love Memphis.
Appreciate it. All right, we're going to take a break, but we've got to get into a big week for the Memphis Tigers. A lot of accolades coming to Memphis, including one Coach of the Year honor for the one and only 1 cent, Penny Hardaway. That's coming up next. Stick around.
Day, but some days are more impactful than others. In Memphis, we get it all. From heat waves, severe storms, snow, and ice. As a meteorologist, it's my job to keep you safe on those impactful days. Don't get caught off guard and know what to expect with ABC 24 Weather Impact Days.
The 24 Plus app. Watch us live and continue with us on 24 Plus. And get extended coverage of weather and breaking news. The 24 Plus app. ABC 24 is making your voice heard.
This city is filthy, it's crime infested, and somebody need to do something about it.
Listening to your concerns.
We could have such a great city if we really just put the time and energy into it and come up with solutions.
And getting results for you.
We appreciate 24 for coming out.
Getting the issues taken care of.
When you put it on ABC 24, somebody gonna listen.
ABC 24, seeking solutions for you.
I just love working on this morning show.
We really are like one big family. Myself, Yvonne, Ruben.
You're probably gonna like what you see and what you hear. And you're gonna leave being informed and having a little bit of fun at the same time.
ABC 24 News this morning.
It's lunchtime in America, so what are we serving up?
Well, how about everything you need to know?
You know, that sounds pretty good.
Give it to me. Your health, your money, breaking news, pop culture, with the biggest stars, music, trends, and of course, good food. GMA 3, what you need to know. A third hour of GMA in the afternoon.
So join us, afternoons.
For everything you need to know. I love that.
ABC 24's Let's Talk is bringing communities together.
We need to do something to keep our community going.
Getting your voice heard and leading to change.
We want to work with them, and we want to drive crime down in this city.
ABC 24, seeking solutions for your neighborhood.
I believe that we can go back to where Hickory Hill was the great place to live because we can all come together and work together to make it happen.
Join ABC 24 for Let's Talk.
Y'all hear us blow out the subwoofer?
It's TV's biggest morning party, live with Kelly and Mark.
Boom, boom.
Big stars and big surprises. Plus,
Are you rooting for me or against me?
don't miss the fun on the #1 entertainment talk show.
You think the other talk shows complain about us? They're like, it's too loud over there.
Weekdays at 9 on ABC 24 Memphis.
Welcome back to the 24th floor for the first time ever. Penny Hardaway, that man right there, AAC Coach of the Year after leading Memphis to his first regular season conference title and the Tigers' best season in 13 years. The Tigers took down top-ranked teams, battled one of the nation's toughest schedules, and secured Hardaway's 150th career win all along the way. They finished the regular season 26-5 and locked up the #1 seed in the AAC tournament, which will begin for them on Friday. Here's Coach Penny Hardaway on the big honor.
Yeah, it means a lot because it's leaving a legacy to the young kids that grew up here in the city that are following in my footsteps. You know, the city raised me. Since I was 9th grade, I was with Elliot Perry. The city adopted me at that point, and it's been nothing but great ever since. So to be able to get this award, I'm sure Coach Finch is smiling down, my high school coach, Garmer Curry, those guys taught me so much about the game. And just to get this award, it puts Memphis in a great position, and that's what makes me happy.
Not the only accolades coming the Tigers' way. P.J. Haggerty was named AAC Player of the Year after averaging 21 points a game this year. Just a couple days later, named Sporting News second team All-American. Dane Danger was named Newcomer of the Year in the AAC. And Haggerty, Danger, and Tyrese Hunter all named to the AAC's first team. Haggerty said the award is nothing more than a blessing.
Yeah, I say it's a blessing. Just being in the position I am. I mean, it wouldn't be able without my team, coaches, and all the hard work I put in. I just say a blessing from God.
And Haggerty joins some rare air. He becomes the 9th Memphis Tiger to be named in All-American, joining guys like Larry Finch, Penny Hardaway, and Derrick Rose. Could he be a consensus All-American, though? Only 6 Tigers have done that. The last was Chris Douglas Roberts back in 2008. And as great as the accolades are, there is still a lot of work to be done for this Tiger squad. They begin the AAC tournament on Friday, facing the winner of South Florida and Wichita State. 2 teams that they're 3-1 against so far this year. The Tigers last won the conference tournament in 2023. That's when Kendrick Davis was leading the squad. Right now, entering the tournament, they're bordering kind of on that 6, 7, 8 seed in the tournament. But if the right dominoes fall their way and the Tigers win the AAC tournament, taking care of their own business, there's a possibility for a 6 or maybe even a 5 seed, and that's exactly what Penny Hardaway is playing for.
I mean, we want to win, period, because we have to win. When you win, you give yourself an opportunity to have a higher seeding. The next thing behind that is to prove ourselves right, not others wrong. Like, we know what we can do. And those two things drive me, maybe not the team, but it drives me because I know how important seeding is. Even though when I was in school, we had, I think we were like a 9 seed, and we made it to the Elite 8. So to me, no matter who you match up against, you're going to have to beat the best to win it. So I'm saying that, but at the end of the day, you got to play who you play.
All right, so the bottom line is this. The Memphis Tigers have had a fantastic season. They've played really, really well, but the entirety of this season was about getting redemption, and I think that they've done a lot of that so far this year. You know what happened to them last season when they fell in the AAC tournament on Thursday, which is basically their first round, but now they're working on the next step. And I think what that next step looks like, Penny Hardaway kind of talked about it. They've achieved a lot of what they wanted to achieve already, but in his mind, this is a team that can go past that first round, that first weekend in the NCAA tournament. And I think that's something that's really kind of stuck in the back of his mind. Saw what happened to them in 2023 when FAU knocked them out. Really, so many things lined up for them that year, and you weren't able to take care of business. What the Tigers are able to do, especially if they can get into a 5 or 6 seed, is set themselves up for a possibility for a second weekend. Penny Hardaway says he wants to see them in a Sweet 16, an Elite 8. Several of his players, PJ Haggerty, who you see right there, has said that this can be a Final Four team. And while I don't necessarily believe that, all that matters is that they believe that. And I think that's something that the Tigers are certainly in position to do. But you got to start this weekend, beginning Friday at noon, when they play the first round for them in the AAC tournament. And certainly we are hoping to see them cut down some nets. They've already done so once in the regular season. They could maybe do so again in Fort Worth, Texas. That'll be in Dickies Arena at the AAC tournament. So now what we got to see from the Tigers is, can they handle business? And what they've done and what we've seen the Grizzlies do as well is, maybe they don't play they play down maybe a little bit to their competition. You're hoping that they play up and really knock some teams out. Because I think if you blow teams out, especially here in the AAC tournament, maybe a team or two loses in their conference tournament. Now you find yourselves talking about potentially being a 5 seed and really setting yourself up well for the second, potentially for the second round of the NCAA tournament. And I know the Tiger fans are going to travel. They always travel pretty well, but depending on what you do, you could probably find yourself in a much closer scenario to the city of Memphis, which I'm sure Penny Hardaway and his team would love. And we'll see what they can do. Go, Tigers, go. All right, let's wrap things up with the best thing I saw this week. Best thing I saw this week comes out of the NBA. Oklahoma City beat the Boston Celtics 118-112 in TD Garden last night. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had 34 points, and a bit of trolling here from OKC, or maybe from Converse, probably from Converse. They put the Converse signature shoe logo from Gilgeous-Alexander on some landmarks in Boston. We call 12 here in Memphis, but it looks like Commissioner Gordon might have put up the Shea signal out there in Boston, especially on TD Garden. Just a masterful troll job for the potential MVP who is rolling. We'll see what he's able to do if he snags that award, or if it'll be Nikola Jokic from the Denver Nuggets, who's also having a fantastic year. All right, that's all we have for you here on the 24th floor. Big thank you to Kendrick Perkins and Kahari Nash for joining the show. Same time, same place on Monday. Until then, I will see you later.